सही समय है विचारों का मैदान बोल दिखाओ अपनी भाषा में सब है तैयार राइट और रॉन्ग में क्या डिफरेंस है दे दो अपना ज्ञान let everyone around you know what it's time for
यही समय है सही समय है An invocation by the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the citizens, particularly to the youth, to rise to nation building. It is a series of Pan-India University debates hosted by New India Junction. New India Junction acts as a channel between the change makers of today and leaders of tomorrow. Now, I invite Ms. Avantika Kansal, Principal Associate Digital Channel Anchor at Bluecraft Digital Foundation, who will be the moderator of today's event.
I would like to introduce today's topic for the debate, which is the era of job seekers in India is approaching its end. A huge round of applause for Team A and Team B for participating. So there would be 3 rounds. Round 1 would be opening remarks by both the teams. Then round 2 would be rebuttals by Team A and rebuttals by Team B. And round 3 would be question for both the teams plus closing stances of both the teams. So I here start from Team A.
Hi guys, my name is Aditya Iyer and I'm from BBLLB at Vijaybhoomi University. Dream, dream, dream. Dreams transform into thoughts and thoughts result in action. Dr. Kalam's words inspire us to dream big and take action, just as many Indian entrepreneurs are doing, turning their dreams into successful startups. India is witnessing a transformative shift in its employment landscape, with inspiring examples illustrating the end of the era of the job seekers. Ratan Tata's quote, "Take the stones people throw at you and use them to build a monument," exemplifies India's shift towards fostering a culture of job creators rather than job seekers. Initiatives like Startup India and Make in India encourage entrepreneurship and innovation, providing support, mentorship, and funding for aspiring entrepreneurs. Unicorn startups, valued at over $1 billion, represent India's entrepreneurial spirit and innovation. Sectors like e-commerce, fintech, healthcare, and technology have witnessed an exponential increase in these companies. They not only create jobs, but also foster a culture of innovation and creativity, making India a hub of entrepreneurship. This progress reflects India's transition from a nation of job seekers to a nation of innovators and creators, driven by the wave of Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India. The IT boom in the 1990s placed India on the global technology map and provided impetus to entrepreneurship. The IT industry served as a breeding ground for talented individuals who became founders and leaders of successful startups. India's rise as the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world is a testament to the tremendous potential and the growth in this sector. Government support, access to venture capitalists, and a vast pool of skilled talent have created a thriving startup economy. International venture capitalist firms' increasing interest in the Indian ideas and the businesses is a clear indicator of India's global appeal, bringing not only capital but also expertise and global networks to support Indian entrepreneurs. In conclusion, as we witness this transformative shift, it is crucial for all of us to embrace this change and become architects of our own destinies. Let us take inspiration from each other and make the future leaders like Adani's, Tata's, and Ambani's of India. And let's make it more reliant and an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you and Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Hello everyone, my name is Manav Soneja. Your salary is the bribe they give you to kill your dreams. 9 to 5, a work model which is no longer a holy grail what is once. The new generation value flexibility, work-life balance and autonomy more than ever before. More and more individuals are venturing into freelancing, consulting and entrepreneurship, leveraging their unique skills to create services and product by themselves, thereby creating individually products. Additionally, the government is making substantial investment in the skill development programs like Scale India, which is filling the gap of the skills and making people ready for the industries and making them more and more capable for these industries and igniting the flame of entrepreneurship in them. Along with these programs, the government is also conducting programs like Mudra Yojana and PMAY Yojana, which is providing the financial knowledge and financial assistance to the people who are underprivileged and in the rural areas, which also kindles the flames of self-reliance and entrepreneurship in the people. As Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam stated, "Sapno se sarhat par ek ladai hai," emphasizing beyond our dreams lies a significant battle. India has consistently showcased and harnessed the power and always dominated the world from the history. And even today, our space exploration, our IT sector, and our pharmaceuticals is on boom. Our ISRO, which have reached to the heights of Mangalyaan and Chandra mission, which was great, and our IT industry is on the highest boom possible. Along with our pharmaceutical industries, we are providing affordable medicines to the entire world. And this, we are witnessing a transition of India from a country of job seekers to a country of job providers, from a country of job seekers to a country of innovators, creators, and entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Thank you, Team A, for putting forward your opening remarks. I now invite Team B to put forward their opening remarks. One huge round of applause for both the teams.
Good afternoon to all the magnanimous multitudes present here. My name is Mayank Sharma, and I am an MBA student here at Vijaybhoomi University. Traditional employment, characterized by its stability, financial security, and employee benefits, offers the much-needed foundation for many members of the Indian diaspora. My first argument centers around the fact that not everybody within our diverse community aspires to be an entrepreneur. In a world that is filled with uncertainty, these traditional jobs stand as pillars of supports, offering solace to those who rely on them, ensuring that they can navigate life's unpredictable seas with confidence and peace of mind. Entrepreneurship and self-employment aren't universally embraced or aspired within the Indian diaspora. It is crucial for us to recognize the preference for the security and stability that traditional employment provides. In doing so, we acknowledge and respect the preferences of those who choose to be employed. It is essential for us to acknowledge the fact that many sectors of our Indian economy rely on traditional employment, ladies and gentlemen, and the special arrangements that traditional employment gives our economy to be maintained and work effectively. My third argument centers around the fact that the critical roles that these job seekers play for maintaining the essential services and contributing to our growth. In the midst of an ever-evolving work environment, let us remember that change must not overshadow the role of traditional job seekers within our community. These individuals, with their pursuit of financial stability, yearn for more than just a paycheck. They seek the sheltering embrace of benefits and the comfort that traditional employment provides. We owe them our respect, our support, because they are the bedrock upon which our society is built today. Let us honor their unwavering commitment and the recognition they so rightfully deserve. Let us ensure that traditional job seekers continue to have their rightful place within our society, and all of us should work together to maintain the social equity of our community. With this, I rest my voice, but not my case. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, yahi samay hai, sahi samay hai. Thank you.
Gayatri, over to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Gayatri and I'm an MBA student. So India is a land of immense diversity, and within this diversity lies a significant challenge. It's often underestimated that only a small proportion of Indian work system is covered by formal work system, and the rest vast in the realm of informal jobs. The sheer magnitude of job seekers in India surpasses any government statistics. Unemployment remains a surpassing issue in our nation, especially among the youth. While we recognize the rise in entrepreneurship and self-employment, we must not disregard the fact that most of the job seekers still yearn for stable employment. As we grapple upon this issue, we should reflect upon the words of Steve Jobs that your work is going to feel a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. Traditional jobs offer a sense of job security, employee benefits, and social safety nets. This aspect is cherished by job seekers, and especially in a country where the social security measures are limited. Our education system predominantly prepares students for traditional employment. And we may need to make some changes in our educational system to make students, to prepare individuals for entrepreneurship, and that's a quite difficult, a challenge for them. Amartya Sen aptly said that महानता केवल व्यक्ति के लिए नहीं, समाज के लिए होनी चाहिए. The rise of entrepreneurship and self-employment brings a surge in competition in these sectors. Success is not guaranteed. The journey can be challenging. While we acknowledge the changing landscape of work and the growing allure of entrepreneurship, we must also acknowledge the indispensable role played by traditional job seekers. It is only by fostering inclusivity and providing a diversified array of opportunities that we can ensure every individual finds their place in the evolving Indian workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Team B. Now moving forward to the second segment of the debate, which is the rebuttals and sir-rebuttals round. I now invite Team A to put forward their rebuttals.
While the arguments in the favor of the traditional employment within the Indian diaspora are valid and emphasize the importance of stability and security, it's crucial to recognize that the world of work is evolving rapidly and the entrepreneurship and self-employment also offers significant benefits. First, entrepreneurship can empower individuals to shape their own destinies and contribute to the economic growth. As the renowned scientist and the former president of India once said, एक व्यक्ति की सीमाओं को देखकर उसकी कुदरत को नापना गलत है. It means it's wrong to measure a person's potential by their limitations. Entrepreneurship not only fosters creativity, but also allows individuals to create job opportunities for others, which is especially important in a country like India with large and continuously growing population. Second, entrepreneurship and self-employment can lead to innovation and adaptation to changing times. Embracing digital technologies and new business models can provide the flexibility and resilience that many seek in an unpredictable world. It aligns with the spirit of जब आप अपने आप को बदलते हैं तो दुनिया भी बदल जाती है. When you change yourself, the world changes with you. As adaptation and innovation often drives the progress. Third, the traditional job market might not always be sustainable in the face of automation and evolving industry demands. As Mahatma Gandhi said, विश्वास के बिना कुछ भी संभव नहीं है और विश्वास के साथ सब कुछ संभव है. It's essential to prepare our workforce for the future by encouraging skills development and promoting culture of entrepreneurship. In conclusion, the choice between traditional employment and entrepreneurship should not be seen as a binary one. Both have their own merits, and a diversified workforce that includes both traditional job seekers as well as the entrepreneurs can contribute to a more resilient and a prosperous Indian diaspora. It's crucial to respect and support the choices of individuals make and provide opportunities for growth and adaptation in a rapidly changing world. And may diverse workforce continue to flourish in this ever-evolving landscape. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you.
I certainly agree to the fact that the traditional job offers us a sense of security, a social safety nets. But we also have to acknowledge the fact that the jobs which are today are not the same as it used to be. The rapid change in the technology have changed our job domains. Along with that, one should always be open for the both traditional and non-traditional employment options, ensuring that every individual have opportunity according to their will. The definition of the traditional job is evolving due to technological advancement, as I stated, and shifts in industry demand, stable jobs and benefits are becoming increasingly rare. And the formal sector is becoming smaller day by day, and the technology is having jobs and it's reducing job in the wider perspective. Our education system prepares us to be job ready, but what the job roles are today may not be aligned with our current education system. The world is moving towards a digital system, and digital world may not have a lot of jobs. Entrepreneurs and self-employment is a major factor which one should consider while thinking about the jobs. Focusing solely on traditional jobs can perpetuate and narrow the perspective of success, while some individuals find satisfactory and security in these roles. These are diversified career paths and definitions of success by encouraging more inclusive approaches and employment. We respect the choices of those who wish to explore the inconvenience of the jobs. But it's always open for one person what he wants to do. And there should be no binary between what you are choosing, the job or the business or entrepreneurship, whatever you want. And entrepreneurship and all of these things are not always about competition. It's about being together and taking a country to the next level we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Team A. Now I invite Team B to put forward their rebuttals.
My worthy opposition, in their fervor for entrepreneurial zeal, may not have fully taken into account the complexities of the issues at hand. While Dr. Kalam's inspirational words about dreams and actions are indeed motivating, the practical challenges faced by those who wish to embark on entrepreneurial journeys cannot be ignored. It is noteworthy that Ratan Tata's powerful mantra of turning adversity into opportunity resonates with us all. However, it does not address the fundamental challenges that many aspiring entrepreneurs face, as my esteemed colleagues have not taken into consideration. India's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, or self-reliant India, holds great promise and it's quite applaudable. But it excludes segments of society. While the IT boom of the 1990s brought significant economic growth, yet it primarily benefited urban areas and skilled professionals, which my respected opposition again has not taken into consideration. Let us not underestimate the atrocities aspiring entrepreneurs face. My worthy opposition has presented an extremely compelling case of entrepreneurial spirit. But let us not overlook the challenges and disparities that persist within the entrepreneurial sector. It is important that the government, entrepreneur, and society at large work collaboratively to create an environment which fosters entrepreneurs and job seekers, and innovation and social equity. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
As their perspective is undoubtedly an optimistic one, but it's essential to recognize that the shift away from traditional 9-to-5 shift towards freelancing and entrepreneurship and skill development program, it's not without its challenges. Entrepreneurship and skill development and freelancing may not be applicable to everyone, and it is risky. First and foremost, not everyone has the privilege or the opportunity to embark on their entrepreneurial and freelancing journey. Many individuals still rely on the stable employment to support their family's financial background. The gig economy can be precarious, lacking job security, benefits, and financial stability. For those who lack access to knowledge, the resources, and the network, pursuing their dreams can be difficult, and it may remain an unattainable aspiration. Furthermore, the transition to freelancing and entrepreneurship can be stressful and risky. It often requires a significant investment of your time, money, and effort, and not everyone is prepared with uncertainty, financial fluctuations, and responsibility of managing a business. The government skill development programs are commendable, but there is a long way to go in terms of accessibility and quality. Not all regions and community benefit equally. They still leave some individuals at a disadvantage. It's also essential to remember that stable job with benefits can provide a sense of job security and a predictable income that many people value. The traditional job market plays a crucial role in the economy. Thank you.
So those were some interesting and intriguing points put forward by Team A and Team B. A huge round of applause for both the teams. Now we move to the third round of the debate. In the last segment, this is the question-answer round with our judge, Kritika Patode. A huge round of applause for her. So she would be asking one question each to the teams.
Okay, so my question first goes to the team going for the motion. Now, well, you have made a very strong case for entrepreneurship. But having said that, entrepreneurship is also a matter of privilege. It's an option that can be explored for people who come from a certain privileged background. It may not necessarily resonate with the reality of a lot many people in India. So what do you have to say to that? Because this is a blanket statement that you're making, which is that the era of job seekers is coming to an end and everybody seems to only wanting to become entrepreneurs today.
Entrepreneurship, while often, is associated to privilege. But I would not say that. While on the higher class people with privilege have access to the financial markets, to have access to the high network individuals and all. But it's not necessary. The government is still providing the highly poor people, not highly poor I would say, but the village people also these benefits. The Mudra Yojanas, as mentioned by my fellow partner, are still in process. The bank loans for these people are at a lower interest and these guys can also pursue the dream of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is no more a dream, but it has become a reality as I already mentioned, with the startup rates increasing day by day.
Thank you, thank you. Can we have the concluding remarks by the team?
Along with that, entrepreneurship, one of the skills which an entrepreneur needs is problem solving. And I believe so it's a problem that you are underprivileged. And there are a number of entrepreneurs which have been very successful despite having very less resources. And Dhirubhai Ambani is one of them. Despite having very less resources, he fought all of his problems and created a company which is huge today and one of the biggest companies of our nation. And yes, it's always a person's choice what they want to do and what they don't want to do. But we shouldn't be very much biased according to their choices. One is always open to their choices, whether it's entrepreneurship, freelancing, whatever they want to do. And yes, I believe so the era of job seeking is coming to an end because in India, there are people who are looking forward for the better options for the job. Better options like freelancing and consulting, which is not a job, but which is making them bread and butter. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, the team going for the motion. Can we have the team going against the motion? Take the podium. So while the other team has made a very strong case for entrepreneurship, you've made a strong case for the fact that, jobs are here to stay. As you know, today we are headed towards becoming the third largest economy in the world. There is a lot of reliance that we are paying. There's a lot of emphasis on Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, and other very many initiatives which are promoting entrepreneurship and which are very, very extremely important and crucial for us to achieve that dream. So how do you think that fits in the larger narrative that you're trying to promote today?
So first of all, thank you so much for the question. I'm going to start with a quote. So when I was in school, there was a quote written in our corridors. Education is the lighting of a lamp, not the filling of a vessel. Now I'm going to use this quote as a parameter to explain my answer. We can have as many entrepreneurs as we want, Everybody wants to make their own money. Nobody wants to do a 9 to 5, apparently. I have 10 ideas. I want to implement them and get my own business running. And trust me, that's what everybody wants to do. So now, let's talk about stability and financial security that a lot of people want. Now, not everybody wants to run after money. Some people look forward to having a stable life with a stable income. And apparently, that is their goal. And that age factor that comes like after 35, my growth has stopped. I just want to live my life the way it is. That's what a lot of people in our community today are doing. Now we can have as many entrepreneurs. Now who is going to work with those entrepreneurs? Is it going to be a one-man army? That's not the case. That's absolutely not the case. So we need to make sure that the people who seek jobs, because I know for a fact that for me, rather than money, I would go with peace of mind. And with today's world, but today, the generation that's coming up, like the next generation or my generation, for us, it's not about the money. It's always about the mental peace that we want. So I think that pretty much explains my answer.
Thank you. Can we have the concluding stance of the team, please?
Yes. So in conclusion, I'll say that India's diverse workforce faces dual challenges of high unemployment and shift towards the entrepreneurship, but still there are traditional jobs provide job security, stable employment. And the job seekers prefer that stable security for their financial stability. Then there's a growing need to prepare individuals for self-employment. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's words emphasize that the value of ambitions, and Amartya Sen's insight highlights that greatness should benefit society. So balancing a lot of entrepreneurship and the traditional jobs, inclusively diversified opportunities are crucial for India's evolving workforce. So, if the rise towards entrepreneurship and self-development is there, we should also recognize that to support this self-development and entrepreneurship, we still need job seekers, because in a startup company, we still need technically skilled people to grow that company. So I'll support the statement that era of job seekers is not coming to an end. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to Avantika.
Thank you, both the teams, for participating, and a huge round of applause for both the teams.
The part that I'm sure the debaters have been waiting for, which is to announce the winners of today's motion, which was the era of job seekers is coming to an end. It was a very difficult job and it was super neck to neck. So the debate is won by the team going for the motion. The era of job seekers is coming to an end. Can we have the team going for the motion? Can we have Adit as well as Manav on stage, please? Also, can we have the team going against the motion? Wonderful job by the team going against the motion. Can we have Gayatri and Mayank, please, on stage? I think all four debaters were excellent. Some excellent points were made, and it was actually quite difficult for me to decide who's going to take the title of the winning motion. So let me first just start. I mean, this is the big thing that everybody's talking about today. This whole narrative shift from why India to why not India. We can see this everywhere in the world. You know, the most leading publications worldwide are talking about this narrative shift that's happened today. Please tell me that have you also experienced this, and what has your experience been on these lines?
No, thank you for that question. So the thing is that, of course, that's a very wide question. Do not know how to start answering that. See, I can talk about it from a music standpoint of view.
Right.
Now, in India, when it comes to music, for some reason in India, one cannot differentiate between movies and music in India. Like, for example, when I tell somebody, of course, I've not done any movies, but when I tell somebody I'm a composer, the first question I'm asked is, which movie have you composed music for? Or if somebody is a singer, the first question they're asked is, which movie have they sung for? Because for some reason, the film industries, whether it's Bollywood or whether it's a regional film industries, are so deeply entrenched with with the music industry in general, and that's how it has been for a while now. And that's for various reasons. So when a Bollywood composer or a Bollywood singer goes to a foreign country, okay, and performs over there, then they are usually able to fill up a complete stadium. They're able to fill up a complete hall. They get a large audience. But who is in that audience? It's just the Indian diaspora and nobody else. Because with just a few exceptions, which you can count on your fingers, Bollywood music has not actually broken cultural barriers. So they've just appealed to Indians in India and Indians everywhere in the world, which is not a bad thing. Because with 1.4 billion Indians and with such a large diaspora that India has abroad, it's a good thing to cater just to us Indians. But what I'm trying to say is that we haven't broken cultural barriers. And the people who have actually broken cultural barriers are actually the traditional and the classical musicians. Right. Now, I'll come to your answer. I'm just giving a little bit of a preamble. Like, for example, when I was 19 years old, I had gone to San Francisco and I watched a Pandit Ravi Shankar concert. And prior to that, I'd watched a couple of Bollywood concerts in America, in New Jersey and San Francisco and a couple of other places. So when I watched this Pandit Ravi Shankar concert, of course, the music was absolutely amazing. He was playing pure Indian classical music. But what really struck me was the audience. That the audience inside that hall was very representative of the demographic of the city itself. Like, for example, if the city had an 80% Caucasian population, it was an 80% Caucasian population inside the auditorium. 5% Asian population outside, 5% Asian population inside. Because this gentleman, he was playing pure Indian classical music. You know, pure Indian classical, traditional music. He wasn't playing the guitar. He wasn't playing a Western instrument. He was playing pure Indian classical music in a foreign land. And he was breaking cultural barriers and exposing this Indian tradition and Indian music to people who would normally not be exposed to, in general. So he had created this popularity abroad, and he even decided to move abroad. He was not living in India. He decided to move abroad because somehow he felt that he was getting more respect for his music outside of India than in India. And that's why he moved abroad. Zakir Hussain moved abroad, Fazal Qureshi, and so many other people, Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, Anushka, everybody has moved abroad because of that. Now, everybody knows who Pandit Ravi Shankar was, right?
Yes.
Yes? What is the, shout out, what instrument did he play? Perfect. He won the Bharat Ratna, everybody know that?
Yes.
The biggest civilian honor ever. What is his daughter's names? The other daughter? Nora Jones? You're aware, right? Yeah. So that is what. Okay, can anybody over here name one album of Pandit Ravi Shankar? He's made 65 albums. Can anyone name one album of Pandit Ravi Shankar? Can anyone name one song of Pandit Ravi Shankar? Nobody. Because we've been taught, for many, many years, we've been taught that our own culture and our own traditions, especially when it comes to the art forms, is uncool. You know? And we've been taught to listen to music, which is basically Western music with Indian lyrics. That's all we've been taught to do. So, but now, coming to your question, we see a resurgence of that, where people want to learn Indian instruments. People are feeling proud of our culture. And there are various reasons for this, which I will get into. But right now, we are seeing a resurgence of that for the last few years. My music also is primarily Indian. Even though it's fusion music, it is primarily Indian. And I see, and the people who, if you're craving for Western recognition, now everybody in India know that if you're craving for Western recognition or craving for global recognition, that's a better word. Gone are the days when you have to do English music, or you have to make music which is in Western forms of music and all of that stuff. You just have to dig deep into your own roots, figure out what is it that makes you uniquely Indian, figure out what is it that makes you culturally and traditionally an Indian, showcase that music and showcase those art forms, and you'll get recognition from all over the world.
So I think, that response has highlighted some very key challenges, right? The fact that how, traditional artists saw that they were getting a lot more appreciation abroad, and that's why a lot of them were moving abroad. Also the fact that how there's a certain template in India, right, that has been set for music, and there is a certain cool template. And if something doesn't fit, which largely traditional music would not fit, it was not cool for people to follow. But now, like you said, there is a resurgence. One of the resurgent points we can also see that, in the Mann Ki Baat of the Prime Minister, I think there have been various episodes where he has spoken about promoting Indian music, preserving Indian music. Have you seen that translate into any positive impact in the music community? And has that actually nurtured further, budding musicians who are practicing these traditional art forms today?
Absolutely, because Mann Ki Baat, I listened to it quite intently, because Mann Ki Baat, the biggest quality of Mann Ki Baat is that it's completely apolitical. If you listen to any of the Mann Ki Baat episodes, there is never any politics in it. There may be a lot of politics in what everybody says otherwise, but Mann Ki Baat is completely apolitical, and it's absolutely amazing. Now, the thing is that there are, let's see, when it comes to music, of course, I've learned a lot of things from Mann Ki Baat, but when it comes to music, there were two things that I can talk about. One is that Prime Minister Modi spoke about 2 or 3 musical instruments, which I've forgotten the names of, but I've worked with those musicians later on. But there was a revival. Like, one of them was basically the mandolin. He spoke about U. Srinivas, and he spoke about the mandolin.
Right.
And he said that this is an instrument which is sort of like, especially from an Indian context, it is sort of like a dying art form. And the great Srinivas, he basically sort of brought a revival of it. There were a couple of other instruments he spoke about. Then I remember he also spoke about the Hornbill Festival. Right. He also spoke about the festival which happens in Ladakh, the music festival. So he spoke about all of these things, and and this brought, that it brought our consciousness into all of these, all of these areas when it came to music. And then, of course, like, even if you look at the Padma Awards, for example, the Padma Awards for the last couple of years, the only people who are winning Padma Awards when it comes to music are people who are creating music at the grassroots level. They're not people who are multi-award winning musicians or people who are doing pop music or somebody's friend or, something like that. People who are winning awards when it comes to music, you've never heard of them. Like, for example, when you look at the Padma Award list for the last few years, and you look at people who have won especially for arts and who are musicians,
Right.
you look at the names and you've never heard of them. And then you go and Google them, and then you realize that, wow, these guys are absolutely amazing, that they're doing such amazing work when it comes to folk music, when it comes to tribal music forms. And these forms need to be uplifted, and they're constantly uplifted on Mann Ki Baat and through these awards, simply because when it comes to our indigenous music, our tribal music, now, let's make a differentiation. One is, of course, our traditional music forms like Indian classical music, like Carnatic and Hindustani music. And then you've got a tribal and indigenous music, which predates that by more than 1,000 years, actually. Now, when it comes to this tribal music and this indigenous music, these traditions have been passed down orally for many, many centuries and many generations. So that is why these tribal forms of music, these tribal musical instruments are... there's a strong fear of them actually disappearing or them completely dying out because they've not been documented appropriately.
Right.
So that is why to constantly highlight these forms of music becomes extremely important because it's a part of our heritage and it needs to be protected. So what I did was that, that some of you may know what Baul music is from Bengal. Anybody knows Baul music? Yeah, raise your hands. Yeah. So few of you know what Baul music is. So Baul music is said to be over 1,000 years old, the tradition, maybe closer to 2,000 years old. Now, the thing about Baul music is that what is very interesting is that it's basically in the region of West Bengal, Bangladesh, Assam, this particular region. And these were people who suffered from being from a lower caste, during this particular period, about over 1,000 years old. They suffered from being from a lower caste. They were constantly persecuted. So they decided that, let us get out of this caste confines. And our pathway to God is not going to be through a person. Our pathway to God is going to be through our voice. Right. We're going to sing, and that is our way to invoke God. And we're going to lead cashless lives so that nobody can persecute us even for money. So we're going to lead completely cashless lives. We're going to sing for our food. We're going to sing for a cup of tea. We're going to sing to get a place to stay. And we're just going to be nomads. We're not going to live in a particular village or a particular area. We're just going to travel our whole life. So they're nomads. Cashless lives, extremely sustainable, so that's why I really like them. And the thing is that right now they are a dying art form. There are a lot of people who practice their songs because as I said, they've been passed on orally from generation to generation. So a lot of people who practice these songs because they learned these songs from a few bowls. And they practice these forms of music more as these songs more as a genre of music rather than living the way of life of the Bauls. But there are still a couple of Bauls in the Bengal region who are still nomads, who are still sannyasis, who still practice the way of life of being a Baul. So what I did was that I spent about 4 years. We made a documentary film where we documented 40 of these Bauls. And we documented their music. We put it on a OTT platform called Mubi. It's a UK-based platform. It was very successful. So that way, the traditional lives on, and that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to meet tribals from all over the country. Right now, I've already documented a whole lot of tribal forms of music in Odisha, in Andhra Pradesh, and different places, so that these traditions basically live on and their music lives on because they sing about really cool stuff. About coexistence, about humans' relationship with nature, all the stuff that we need to learn from. Because they've got a whole wealth of knowledge that has been passed down through these songs from generation to generation that not only we, but the whole world can benefit from.
Wow. So I think that's so inspiring, isn't it? Especially for our students here who are studying like a multitude of course disciplines. I mean, it's amazing, right? That how, actually documenting the journey of these traditional artists is really sparking cultural revival, social impact. And it's really amazing to see how, like you said, that music is being used to spread a social message. I mean, I think that's a lot of inspiration for all our budding musicians sitting here today. So before I go on to talk about the environment, I think you raised a really interesting point, about the democratization of talent recognition that's happening today. So the Padma Awards are now very fondly known as the People's Padma, right? Because we're seeing it being more inclusive. And it comes in a time when in other fields, there is a lot of nepotism that is being attached to awards. So what do you think has changed, when it comes to these civilian honors for art forms in the last decade?
I think what has changed is that deserving people are getting it. I think that's the most important thing, that people who really deserve to win it get it. And now the thing about awards is that there are multiple ways to look at awards. Now, one way to look at awards is that somebody's done fantastic work, say you're going to award them. Now, what are they going to utilize that award for? Is it going to be vanity that, yeah, I won an award, I'm the best, or whatever? Or the second way to do it is that I've won this award, I've been given this platform, and this amazing platform, more people are going to take me seriously because I won this award. So what am I going to do with that platform, I'm going to do bigger and better things with my art form. And not only that, I'm going to make this world a better place, because more people are paying attention to me. Now, when you're giving an award, so this is about receiving the award. When you're giving the award, there are two ways to look at that too. One is that you give the award, as I said, for somebody who's done something great. So you're giving them the award so that they can do bigger and better things with that award. Or the second thing is that you're making an example of that person so that, like somebody's done great work, you're making an example of that person so that you're inspiring 1.4 billion people to do equally good work as that particular person. So I feel that, and plus you're getting that person known in that particular way. And of course, that I said the two things, but the third thing could also be that, this person's my friend, let's give him an award or give her an award, So that third thing, I think, has gotten completely eliminated. Now, if you look at all the Padma Award recipients, it's always been one of the two first things, that this person's doing excellent work, let's encourage them further and let's get them to do even better work. And the second thing is that, let's make an example of this person. Right. This person's been doing such amazing work with, amazing work on ground, has impacted so many lives, but nobody knows about it. So if nobody knows about it, if more people come to know about it, not only will this person be able to do his or her work better, get better funding for it, and, and get more people to rally around him or her, but also it will inspire 1.4 billion people to do equally good work as this person because we've awarded this person. So I believe that's what's happening with the Padma Awards.
Yeah, and I think it's so encouraging to know that, right? I mean, it's also very encouraging for people who want to take this up professionally to know that, nepotism or friends is not, you would get recognized as long as you're doing good work, or you're probably bringing to the forefront an art form which is rather not known, or rather has lost its importance. You would actually be rightly rewarded.
Not importance, more about lost its relevance,
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a better way to put it. So obviously, after winning your historic Grammy Award, you were invited by the Prime Minister to meet with him. And I think we've read several interviews where you say you're quite positively inspired by him and his work. What transpired in that meeting, and how did that change things in terms of the way you were looking at things? Is there any sort of change that happened after that meeting?
So in 2015, I won my first Grammy Award. And after I won my Grammy Award, I was invited by the Honorable Prime Minister for a meeting, and I was told on the phone call that it's going to be a 5-minute meeting, and most probably just a photo op, for which itself I was quite honored that, with so many people in India, I get to meet the leader. So I went for the meeting, and it ended up becoming a 1-hour-long discussion because we started speaking about the environment. I started speaking about my role with the United Nations, and the conversation became a beautiful, long, lengthy conversation. And of course, I was extremely impressed by our Prime Minister's thoughts on the environment, on climate change. And then he told me that he was going to be visiting the climate change conference in Paris that year. That is the COP21, the climate change conference. For those of you who maybe have forgotten about that conference, it still is the largest conference of nations ever in the history of our planet. 195 presidents and prime ministers coming together, not foreign ministers or secretaries, but actual 195 presidents and prime ministers coming together under one roof in Paris to discuss how do we mitigate the effects of climate change and how do we make this world a better place for our future generations. So he said that he's going to be having the main stage. He told me that he's going to be announcing the Solar Alliance, which is a cool project between France and India, which is about generating a whole lot of solar energy through nations which have a tropical climate. Anyway, so he told me about all of this. He told me he's going to be delivering a speech over there. And then that is when we were talking about music. My journey of music, I can get into that, but that's a long story. But nevertheless, I've always been an environmentalist and I've always been a musician my whole life. And I explained that to the Prime Minister. And I told him that some of my music is about the environment, but I also do a lot of commercials. I also do a lot of other stuff. So then he's the one who encouraged me that, you know, you're so passionate about this and music is your art form. So why don't you just dedicate your life and your music entirely to this one purpose that you're so passionate about? And that was the push I actually needed. And he also told me that, you know, that if you make some music that I really like, and which includes people from all over the world, then he said that I'll launch it over there at the climate change conference, you know, and the main stage in front of all those world leaders. I'll do that. So I thought, okay, accepted. And I remember leaving his office because if the Prime Minister of a country gives you career advice, you're going to take it a little seriously, right? So I did that. And then I decided that, you know, that this is exactly what I'm going to do. This is the push I needed. And I left his office thinking very strongly that this is all that I'm going to dedicate my life to. Every single piece of music that I'm going to make is going to be about the environment and positive social impact around those areas. And that's the only kind of music that I make today. And then I made the album. It is an album called Shanti Samsara, World Music for Environmental Consciousness. 500 musicians from over 40 countries. Very, very successful album. Performed it now in more than 30 countries. And of course, our Prime Minister, true to his word, he took copies of the album. He gifted it to all the world leaders, and he launched it over there with the then French President François Hollande and the then United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. So it was a beautiful meeting. And then after that, I ended up winning 2 more Grammy Awards. So now I'm up to 3 Grammy Awards.
Wow. Policy making is very complex, right? And in fact, you know, we would see this in the last decade, that one of the biggest reasons why we've done so well is a lot of the policies that have been introduced have second order and third order impacts, right? So it is not only a situation where it is like, for example, you know, something that maybe a lot of us can't relate to today is that, you know, in rural India, most of the women a decade back would be going to collect firewood. Yeah. It would, you know, it's obviously leading to deforestation. Second is also about the health hazard that was being caused to them by lighting up of that firewood. Now you have Ujjwala today, which is, you know, providing all these LPG cylinders. Now, to your mind, immediately, the first order impact would be that, okay, you're giving a cylinder. No, but think about this, right? The fact that you are giving them the cylinder, you are saving their time of having to go into the forest, get that firewood, go through that whole complex procedure of setting it up, making the food. That's giving a lot more time on those hands of those women, and that's transforming lives.
No, the Ujjwala scheme actually is quite an important one, because the thing is that the United Nations has got this organization which is known as the Clean Cook Stoves Foundation. Okay, you can read up about it. Now, so basically what happens is that the WHO had determined that 7 million people on this planet die every single year because of air pollution. Now, out of those 7 million people, 6 lakh of them are basically children. 6 lakh of them are children. Now, we would think that it's because of the air pollution and all of that stuff, but no, most of these 6 lakh children are dying because of indoor air pollution. And indoor air pollution is because of dirty cook stoves. You know, and that is what this Ujjwala scheme has done. Because especially when I'd gone to Araku Valley sometime back, this was, I think, it was in 2017 or 18 when I'd gone, 2018, when I'd gone to Araku Valley and I was speaking with the farmers over there. The farmers, all of them would tell me the exact same thing, that our children used to be coughing all the time. Yeah. And now that has stopped.
Yeah,
you know, so that is the impact of this, you know. So it's just a brilliant impact of that particular scheme, where that scheme has not only changed people's lives by making their lives far more productive, but it has also saved lives.
Absolutely. So now we can take another student question. Anybody who would like to ask a question?
Hello, sir. First of all, I gotta say I'm really excited to see you here. And a lot of the questions I did have prior to this have been answered by you. But I still do want to ask, how do you plan on taking the mainstream route to make your views on environmentalism more profound? Or rather, do you plan on becoming the face of environmentalism in India through music itself? Because I feel like whatever you've said today have been like really interesting and profound, but I think a lot of people here have not heard of them, or rather have not heard of it through your music itself. So I want to know, how do you plan on taking it mainstream?
I think that's more a question for you. Can you do that? You know, because at the end of the day, I'm not a mainstream musician itself. So basically, what happens is that it's up to you to carry my music forward, and it's up to you to carry, because that's the whole point of doing this whole exercise, right? To speak to all of you, and then hopefully you all can magnify it. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going towards your point right now.
Great. So before we end this conversation, I would have a last question for you. You've traveled far and wide. I mean, you've traveled globally, you've traveled to different parts of the country, I'm sure very remote parts of the country where a lot of us may not have been. And you do interact with a vast segment of society. People from urban areas, rural areas, tribal areas, different communities, caste, creed, etc. What is the transformation that you have been seeing that has actually happened at a grassroots level? I mean, one thing is what we hear, but what is that translated into as a vision? Like, what is the reality on the ground at the grassroots level? When you go to all of these far-flung areas, are you seeing a change that is a positive change that has happened at the grassroots level in terms of the people today?
It's difficult to say actually, but obviously, the general energy in India is very high. Right now, everybody thinks of India as being one unit. Everybody wants everybody. I mean, what at least I see is that people think in terms of a country right now rather than an individual, and I see that happening more and more often. That everybody wants to do stuff for the country rather than for themselves individually, and I see this happening even in rural areas and and places where you would imagine that this kind of thoughts have not seeped into. So generally, the overall energy in India is very high. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you very much. And that brings me to the end of this Q&A session with Mr. Ricky Kej.
सही समय है